everyone, and welcome back to another Space Day Saturday with Stock Trek Girl. And today we will be talking about Rocket Lab's future plans. Now, this is kind of an under wraps thing. Rocket Lab doesn't really speak too much on this particular topic. However, space is soon to be a $1 trillion industry by the year 2040, according to analysts. And knowing that, over 80% of the space revenue that is projected to be coming in will be outside of rocket launches, I have to think that the CEO of Rocket Labs, Peter Beck, has got a few tricks up his sleeve to take advantage of that other 80%. Now, I think that the area where Rocket Lab might be looking to tap into in the future might have something to do with data. Data that is able to be collected from space is going to be very, very valuable for many companies on the ground here on Earth. And when Rocket Lab stated that, their main mission is to go to space to make life better here on Earth, you have to think, a rocket launch in itself isn't going to accomplish that. However, I do believe that what they have planned, as far as the little breadcrumbs that I've been following, could fulfill that goal of going to space to make life better here on Earth. Now, in order to figure out what Rocket Lab has planned for next, we have to look at all the pieces that will be making up the whole picture and completing the puzzle. In a way, it's a lot like building a house. But if you were just simply looking at the tools on the table, you would never guess that it was a house that was about to be built. So let's now take a look at some of Rocket Lab's tools so we can predict what it might possibly be building. Since Rocket Lab is vertically integrated, they have their own Electron rocket. Rocket Lab also builds their own satellites and components. They also have Photon, as well as their new mega constellation launcher, Neutron, which they are currently developing. So with all these tools, I believe that they will now be developing a mega constellation as their house that they are building. And from this mega constellation that they own, they will collect their own data and be able to use it for many applications, including their own software. Software that can be used to make life better here on Earth. Now, I want to give you another example for you to think about. Many of you, as I'm sure, know all about Tesla. Now, Tesla is an electric car company. But then again, VW can also be an electric car company, so can GM, so can Ford with their little Ford Lightning that they just came out with. But what makes Tesla worth so much more? In fact, Tesla is pretty much worth all the car companies combined as far as market cap. So what makes Tesla so valuable in the eyes of the public and so valuable as a company in general to bring in revenue and future profits? That particular thing that makes the company so valuable is data and software. Because the data that Tesla has been collecting over the years with, their full self-driving beta and all this stuff, and their own software that they did and how they're vertically integrated, that is how Tesla is being able to jump ahead of the pack, ahead of VW, ahead of BMW, ahead of Ford and GM, and all those other ones. It's because of their data. Now, I believe Rocket Lab is going to be, in a sense, like Tesla, in that they will be ahead of the other rocket companies. Maybe not farther ahead of SpaceX, who knows, they might surprise us, but they will be among the top, and the reason why I think that is because of the data that they will be collecting. And again, I do think that the data they will be collecting will be through their own satellites, because Rocket Lab is a vertically integrated company. They already have all the tools. There's no reason why they want to use their own stuff, as far as I'm concerned. Now, this is all a hypothesis. There have been some, instances and some articles that have come out where Peter Beck has mentioned, that their end goal is bigger than the picture that we are seeing now. And I do believe that that end goal is going to incorporate a mega constellation.
So let's take a look at this article by Inverse. Rocket Lab CEO wants to build a satellite constellation, but don't call it Starlink. So in this particular article, it kind of gives little breadcrumbs from the trail that I've been following, where it also mentions, Neutron being the reusable rocket. It highlights, the fact that the vehicle is ideal for mega constellations, so putting up large fleets of satellites. Um, it also goes on to mention that, Peter Beck wants to do something different. He doesn't want to necessarily call it anything like Starlink. So what is interesting, he's saying here, Peter Beck, we're not just stopping at launch, we're not just stopping at space systems. Our goal here is to go even further and integrate all that into one platform where we could provide our own keyword infrastructure right there that we put on orbit, and we can provide, there it is, data and services down on Earth. Just as I was mentioning, going to space to make life better on Earth through what? Infrastructure and data. He also mentions that that they haven't really ever communicated it. It hasn't been like a concrete thing that they've said openly. However, it has been a much longer term goal here. And then again, why does Rocket Lab want to build a mega constellation? Because as you can see, the satellite launch revenue is estimated to be 4.3 billion by 2020, reaching a cool 9.8 billion by 2040. However, as you can see, a lot of that growth isn't necessarily coming from launches. It's going to be coming from data and satellites. So here we go again. For Peter Beck, the satellite infrastructure could mean something more. Beck explains that it means improving communication, monitoring climate change, making life better on Earth. And there it is again, their mission. So Beck also cited the Uber taxi service, which uses GPS satellites to operate. Again, it's all about the satellites and the data and all that collecting. And that's how the infrastructure could lead to new possibilities. So I find it interesting here that in this article, Peter Beck mentions we've got to get the vehicle built first. So I believe that they are talking about Neutron, the mega constellation launcher, which is one of the tools that they have that is going to build the end game, their house, their mega constellation, their big data collector that's going to make life better on Earth. So, there's a lot more in this article. I can't necessarily go through the whole entire thing, but this article that I happened to stumble across, and some of you other people watching this might have also stumbled across this, kind of goes to solidify my hypothesis all along about Peter Beck's ultimate endgame being about data and making life better on Earth.
Now, it goes even beyond the constellation, because I think Rocket Lab is going to be beyond data. I think they are also going to be software as well. And the reason why I think that is that recently they acquired a software company. Rocket Lab recently acquired Advanced Solutions Inc. Now, this is going to be an important strategic buy for them, because Advanced Solutions Inc. is actually a software, and that software helps with navigation, testing, guidance, and a plethora of other things. So this particular software company that they've acquired has actually made quite a few accomplishments. They were started in 1995, and they have actually had some awards. They were awarded some money from the government, from the defense, and they've created this flight software. And what this flight software allows is basically it adapts for different scenarios and different missions. So it's great for testing the satellites. So a lot of times when satellites are being built and they're being built in mass, it's very difficult to test them and kind of get the feel of how they're going to perform up in space. And this particular software allows them to do that. It can literally test mission scenarios on the ground before they get it up into space and get an idea of how well it's going to perform those scenarios. So it's great for simulation. It's great to figure out, how everything is going to connect. And they can do it all in real time, which is really cool. Also, it's going to speed things up for Rocket Labs because when a group of satellites is being built, there's usually not enough rack space to test them all quickly. So basically, that simulation that the software provides helps to kind of fix that bottleneck in order to speed things up, speed up production, speed up testing, and do some simulation for the cluster of satellites. And so that particular software has a name. It's called MAX. So basically modular, autonomous, and extendable. So basically MAX performs that full life cycle of simulation, organization, testing, all that for these satellites in group mass. Now, with this new software that they acquired, they can literally test missions in real-time simulation. It could run a whole bunch of mission scenarios for them, and it's definitely going to give Rocket Lab an edge moving forward as far as their launches, as far as, putting up their own mega constellation in the future. And I really think that the acquisition of this software company is kind of also showing how much Rocket Lab understands the value of software and data in itself. This particular software company even worked with DARPA as far as, getting small autonomous vehicles off the ground. So this software has done more than guidance, testing, mission simulations, but this software company that Rocket Lab recently acquired was also working on autonomous lift. Now, I know I mentioned a couple times in my past videos how I really think in the future, Peter Beck and the team may be moving, towards a goal of, autonomous landing and such. I think that the helicopter thing is super, super cool. But, part of me wonders how long they plan on keeping the helicopter. As far as for Neutron, I know that, they can easily do it for the Electron, but, I'm still wondering about how they're going to make Neutron reusable in the future. And who knows, maybe the autonomous or landing that they're working on, maybe that's in their future plans. So we'll have to see what unfolds and what Peter Beck decides to reveal in the future. So what do I think Rocket Lab's secret mission and endgame is? I think it has to do with going to space to make life better on Earth. And I do believe that, Peter Beck and the Rocket Lab team can accomplish that through collecting data and through the utilization of software. So I think between the constellation, the data, and the software that they have, I think that is going to be, a recipe for success in the future and also to capture other areas of the trillion-dollar space sector that's predicted to be around by the year 2040. Some of you, people that like to dig a little bit, you might have come across some of these materials yourself. Maybe you've even come to the same conclusion as I have. And if so, go ahead and be sure to leave a comment below and let me know what you think. So until next time, live long and prosper.